the sun and turn it into electricity. Now, his device did work, but it took, several hours to charge up the battery. It wasn't really efficient to run your home with. So, after that, there was a young fellow following Tesla and his work. Let me just go back on that one here. Oh, don't do that to me. Here we go. So Tesla, okay, as I said, developed that thing in 1935 and patented sometime around then. And he ended up in a guy named P. Henry Murray, who was a doctor in his own right, but a doctor of something else not related to free energy. But he knew that Tesla's work had merit, and so as a 19-year-old at the turn of the century, he'd been following Tesla, and he started playing with antennas, insulated wires on a farm where he lived. He was a Mormon fellow, kid. And he found out that he could get the wires off of this antenna that was insulated from the rest of the house, through a little coil in his speaker, and it was novel. Years passed, he remembered it. And eventually, through time and circumstance, he spent some time in Sweden, a guest of some of his relatives there, and there was a train car came by with ore. And some of the ore would drop off when they stopped at the signal there at the tracks. And so as a kid, he was a young man now, he would pick it up and take it home and collect it. And he kept it with him when he went back to the States, went back home. And when he started playing with his peculiar electric discharge, his antenna, whatever, he used some of this Swedish stone, he called it. And it was a semiconductive type material, which we've now dubbed the triboluminescent material, which is just a strange term for saying it'll turn certain frequencies of light or heat into electricity directly. And he managed to build a device with an 85-foot long antenna insulated behind his house, with two poles and a little wire coming off of it, insulated again, down to two boxes about the size of this trolley here in his home. He could extract from the ambient medium, the air, he could extract about 5,000 to 7,000 watts of power continuously, run his home, run a heater, and do it to witnesses. Let him take his boxes apart, all except one little cigar box, think about that big, which held the magic device which made it all work. And basically, all he had in his box was a tuned Tesla coil system, a high voltage coil, a step-down coil, and a couple of little feedback coils, and a radio circuit, a heterodyne circuit. No one would help him. In the early 70s, he finally died, and his last words to his family were, "Why didn't they help me?" In fact, they tried to assassinate him. Somebody shot at him through his home window one time. There are so many documented cases of record. This man, with sheriffs, judges, everybody reputable, and as I say, he was part of the Mormon community, and he was reputable. And showing him, proving that this work helped me, he says that we can develop, free energy for the world. And then it died with him. And his son, John, I talked to him. John didn't pay much attention to it. He was too young at the time and doesn't remember how Dad did it. Just remembers conversations and something about germanium cells and this and that. That's not the issue. The issue is, where was he getting the energy from? Who would use modern technology to get it? Well, this did happen. And we make cookies, as I said. The sun throws out particles at around 400 to 1,200 kilometers per second. Pretty fast. A million or 2 million miles an hour, something like that. I forget what the exact figure is, but it's huge. And that hits us all the time, straight off from the sun. We get hit all the time from particles that are called baryons and leptons, high-speed cosmic energy from other galaxies and other star systems, all the time hitting us. They're hitting everything, but we're getting our fair share because we're in the neighborhood. All these things strike a magnetic bubble around the Earth. As I said, every planet and some of the moons of Jupiter has a bubble like this, except for Venus, and it might have one once it settles down and spins the right direction. This guy here, Maury, tapped into a way to sit on the ground here with some insulated wires and reach out, electronic if you wish, and feel the pressure of that solar wind as it vibrated at sometimes 30 million times a second. When a particle hit, it had an impulse of a 30 millionth of a second, bang, like that. So much energy in it that some of those particles go straight up through the Earth. They're huge. And he said, I noticed that my energy drops off from this coil about 20% at nighttime. It still runs at night. No direct sunlight. particles, because of this magnetopause that we will look at here. This, the little round thing in the middle there next to the dark blue circles, right here, that's Earth. And this is the field, the magnetic field of the Earth. As it moves through that solar wind, it gets bent around like a coma around a comet. And if you can imagine this being like a charged balloon full of charged air, and there's things beating like that all the time. At any one point in time, say in a 30 million per second, roughly speaking, there's going to be a number of particles that are hitting, and there's going to be a number of rebounds from just being hit. And the net of those two is some energy flow. So if you can rake off that energy for that fraction of a second, then you've got that energy trapped down in your little device, and the system doesn't know anything about it. It fills the hole with some more energy from more particles from the sun. Now, where we went a while ago is where we belong now. This is the Van Allen belts, the radiation belts around the Earth, the outer one and the inner one. As particles hit it, as particles hit it, it rebounds like this. And it presses on the red one down there, which then presses on the surface of the Earth. What we do is build a charged pocket of air on the surface of the Earth with these wires. And when they get pushed on, they're going to make voltage. And how do we know this? Professor John Trump at MIT, he's now deceased as well. I wrote about him in my book. Made a most remarkable discovery in the 50s again with high voltage. Two plates there. Those two plates represent 10 inches by 10 inches metal plates. They're in a very high vacuum. And he has the ability to measure the attractive force between these plates when he puts a charge on it. So he said to me, and I went to see John before he died, he said, I put 300 volts per centimeter, that's a term for the field intensity. I put 300 volts per centimeter between these plates, and I measured the force at 5/10,000ths of a pound. No, they're wrong, not much of it anyway. So then he says, I raised it to 30,000 volts per centimeter, only raised it 100 times, but yet the force is now at half a pound, 1,000 times more. So he said, well, I wonder what happens if we could go to the limit of our equipment to 3 million volts per centimeter. Watch this. 5.5, 5.7 thousand pounds of force between two plates, 100 square inches each. Now, our atmosphere, that green envelope you just saw in the red one, those are our plates. And we've got the Earth as part of the whole system. There's 3 plates involved. When you move these plates, he found, back and forth mechanically, the voltage started to change. Just moving the plates closer or further apart. That top figure up there started to vary. If you got varying voltage, you've got energy. And this is what he was having. Now that is one source. The other source is what's called thermionic. It takes heat from the body, heat from the air. That is then processed through what is called a triboluminescent substance. That simply means it's like the phosphor on your TV. The phosphor gets hit with an electron gun, and it emits light of a certain frequency. But if you hit that phosphor with that same frequency of light going the other way, it makes electricity come out the other side, or electric field. All atoms in our part of the universe share energy between each other in what's called the infrared spectrum, the heat spectrum. So if you get a material that is responsive instead of to visible light, but to the invisible infrared radiation, then that will convert to electrons on one side of this material, and we put what's called a tuned circuit in a cavity, just like Maury did, and it will strip mine those extra energetic electrons off and into a little spark gap and down to recharge your battery. So those two types are free energy, and there are people working on it in a network that I'm a member of from France, here, in Mexico, Australia, and elsewhere probably. The main part of our membership is in those countries. We are able to succeed with what we've got to varying degrees, but basically, if you use the atmospheric one I told you about, this one here, you'll be able to trap mechanical pressures on in the outer Van Allen belt and turn them into electricity and charge batteries, which you then run inverters from, and you've got power to run your home without the power company. Obviously, one of the reasons it's not been widely distributed. By the way, the thermionic device if you take a nuclear, there are certain types of nuclear reactions you can make to produce a lot of infrared heat energy. And if you do that inside of a material, of a ball that's lined with that triboluminescent material, you can divert that heat from the nuclear reaction straight into electricity, which may or may not be what Bob Lazar was talking about when he talked about his alien sport craft. He saw the 3 gravity wave focus machines out at Area 51. He did describe something which I believe to be what we use ourselves. So whether they use an element 115 and bombard it with neutrinos and get heat out of it, or whatever, they're actually taking heat, like I'm telling you, converting it straight into electricity. To a certain degree, silicon cells do the same thing for us in solar collectors. Oh, come on. This is the backyard. I've just got 2 more holes to fill and put the poles up, and we'll be testing this out in our backyard. That's the charged antenna. You put the insulated wire insulated to 30 to 40,000 volts, so it won't leak into the atmosphere, and you charge it up, and it becomes your balloon to be compressed by the impact on our outer ionosphere and Van Allen belt. Yeah. All right. All right, look, I'm not going to explain this. I'm just going to show you some of the water and aircraft that I've made and tested here since that time, and some of the work here on now. They cycle about every 5 seconds. This one was something that I made for a DARPA proposal for a micro aerial vehicle for surveillance. This was along the same lines. They weren't accepted, by the way, so there's nothing secret here. These all employ the principles of vortex spins in air or charged air. This is another one built in Australia, stateside. By the way, the real things weren't quite as pretty. All the time they had scuff marks and things on them, but anyway, this gives you the idea. Some of them are made out of different materials, fibers, composite, and things like that. All of these have definite reasons for their design.